Pulse School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by BASF.
Jay Stovey here with RealAgriculture.com, and we're here for another episode of the Pulse School. And today I'm joined by Judy Elias of the Canadian Grain Commission here in Weyburn, Saskatchewan. Today we're going to talk grading, pulses specifically. So let's just do a general overview. What are we looking at? Let's start with lentils.
Well, first of all, Jason, welcome to Weyburn, Saskatchewan. And today we're going to start with lentils, and I have a whole bunch of lentils here for everyone to look at. I've got greens, I've got reds, I've got some French greens, and the big factor this year is sprouting, because a lot of the harvest is still out there. Lentils will be off, but they took such a beating with the bad weather that we had. And you'll see that they're sprouted, they get puffy as the cotyledon starts to grow. And what happens is, then they don't auger well. You'll get a lot of breakage and cracking, and buyers don't want to buy them because they might give you a dockage at the beginning of the sale, and by the time they get them to their buyer, they're all split. So that's one of the really big bad things about lentils this year. Green lentils, these are a beautiful color, but again, there's a little bit of sprouting in here, and when we grade them, we're allowed to just push on them. And if they don't split, then they're considered whole. But as they go through someone's system and they're cleaned and gravity tables, etc., they will break, and then that can be a real problem. There isn't a lot of staining this year in the green lentils. Again, it was just sprouting, and then along with the bad weather, they lost color. I've seen some lentils come right off the field, and they were already fair color right then. So they had lost all their color. Here's a fair color. And that's pretty sad when you compare that to a good natural color. So here, imagine we're starting the year already with this color. Staining. I don't know what causes staining, but green lentils are bought by bulk, and people don't want to see a stain on the lentil that they're going to eat. Reds are not bothered by stain because for the most part, red lentils are split and they're put into soups, and they're sold and bought because of the splits. But again, the processors don't want you to split them before they get them. They want to split them. Otherwise, they'll split more and they'll get a lot of attrition.
All right. So lentils, big issue, sprouting and splitting.
Sprouting and splitting.
All right. So
color.
And color. All right. So let's talk about field peas. Let's move on to peas.
Peas. Okay, again, yellow peas. Not too much goes wrong with yellow peas except for splits. If you've got your concave set too tight and you're splitting the peas when you're combining them. They hold their grade really well. And there's really not a lot to say about peas. I would say one of the worst things that happens to peas is adhered soil. And that kind of depends on what time of day you're combining them as to whether the dirt will stick to the pea or not. So this year I'm seeing a lot of dirty peas, and they're being downgraded for adhered soil. Same with green peas, but green peas tend to have a lot of bleach in them as well. It's harder to keep a grade with green peas. As soon as you get a little bit of bleaching on one side, we have a look at them, and if they're really yellow, that's considered a bleached pea. And you're only allowed 3% bleach in a green pea before you get a sample grade. Again, adhered soil is the biggest problem with the green peas, and you'll see that there's adhered soil on them, and that will degrade them as well.
So is that something that can be resolved with cleaning, or is that?
No, it sticks to it like glue and it's there forever because we don't wash peas before we sell them. So it can be a real problem. You have to make sure there's no dew when you're combining so that all the dust that you bring up with the peas doesn't stick to the pea.
So in a year like this year, where you're just trying to get things off.
And then the later it got, you were only going to get a couple of hours of combining in, you just went. Didn't matter what it looked like, you had to get it off. And everything came off tough. Everything is there. I don't think there's very many dry crops out there. The other thing that we were going to talk about today is I had some chickpeas as well. And again, chickpeas, not a lot to go wrong with chickpeas, but you'll see in this sample here that I've got some immature peas, and that can downgrade them pretty darn fast. Again, adhered soil is another bad factor for any pulse crop because they're sold by bulk just the way they look.
All right, so when we're talking about immature peas, what are we looking at?
Here's a nice sample of chickpeas, but then you'll see these green ones. The green seems to get locked in, and it doesn't make for a very uniform sample.
So is that something that could be color sorted, or?
I would suspect it can be color sorted. There's some magical guys out there that can color sort.
But again, added cost.
Added cost. If you want to just sell them right off the truck, it'd be nice if they were all one color.
All right, well, thanks a lot, Judy. Very much appreciated.
Thank you, Jason. Thanks for coming to Weyburn, Saskatchewan and seeing us here.